I'm recording right now in Audacity, and you know, it's just the time is ticking down and going by, and I'm thinking everything I say is being recorded and taken, and um, I think it's throwing me off a little bit. You don't know me, and I don't know you. And to be honest with you, I've been really afraid to show myself for since I graduated college about a year. Um, I'm an artist. I work in theater. I used to work in film. I don't know. Sometimes, and I've been working at those things my whole life. I've been doing theater since I was 6. Um, and a little about me. Um, I, God, I'm 25 years old. And as I said, I just graduated college. I don't know how much I'm willing to share online about anything else, but biggest things I guess I wanted to talk about was my brother told me to promote my confidence. Well, okay. What I wanted to talk about today, just to talk about it, is my experience after graduating college as an artist. My friend told me who told me to start this was, she said I have a lot of insight on the topic, which I do. So I'm gonna be real with you guys, with whoever is listening. I had a huge burnout after school. After school, I was like, what do I do? I came out of school with all these thoughts of when I finish college, as a young actor, I'm going to know what it is I'm supposed to do. I'm going to come out of there and I'm going to have an idea, and then I'm going to pursue that goal as relentlessly as I've always pursued everything else. And it didn't exactly work out like that. What ended up actually happening was that I had a whole reckoning with myself. And coming out of school, I didn't really, I found out I became really disillusioned with the industry that I was going into, because I realized that the world can be like that. When you are going into work, when you're starting work, in anything, like when you're not a kid anymore, I guess. I mean, we've all had times where not all of us, but it's not uncommon to work before you get out of school, or whatever school that you find yourself in, whether you're just in college or whether you're have graduated high school, and have decided to go straight to the working field. It's kind of a rude awakening, to be honest with you, especially in today's world with this tiny device in your pocket that is constantly telling you all the evil and all the terrible things that are happening in this world. So yeah, it's pretty effed up. So you're coming off of, so picture me, wanting that to not be the case, not wanting to hate my everyday life, not wanting a 9 to 5 because I didn't want to, because I just heard all these horrible stories of all these people, being like, everything's awful, everything's terrible. And I said, I really don't want to hate my life. I really want to do something I enjoy. And luckily enough, I had people supporting me, to be able to make that dream a reality. So when I came out of school, I started a company. I was very ambitious. I had no idea how to start a company, and I still kind of don't. I guess you could say I know how to not start a company. Now, if you're wondering why all of this story so far has been so disjointed, it's because I have ADHD. So buckle up. And also something I'd like to say is that another reason I made this podcast is for all the men who make podcasts and who don't know what they're doing. So why can't I do it? Because I'm probably far more interesting than them. Isn't that terrible? Somewhat terrible to say. But I don't know. There are all kinds of, mean people with nothing to say. This is what my friend told me before I decided to try this. Going back to what I said earlier, my brother suggested that... Okay. Going back to what I said earlier, I started this business, right? And I had a huge burnout after college because of said business, because I did not want to know what I was doing. And I had a really tough period this past year. And my brother said to me, you need to write a sort of a rap sheet of all the things that you have done, that you have learned in the time that you have spent doing this. And I didn't know what to make of that. I guess, okay, so another thing about me. See, this is all really disjointed. I guess it's my first time, so that's okay. I didn't have this was supposed to be the introduction part, and I kind of didn't really have a lot of a structure for this part, but so bear with me here. So where the fuck was I? Oh, am I allowed to curse on here? I guess I maybe should bleep that out. Where was I? Oh yeah. So I am trans. I identify as transgender. And as for the specificness of that, I identify as non-binary, which means I am not a man or a woman. But I was raised a woman. And sometimes I don't tell people that in public because I'm afraid of, and also I don't, announce that very often because I'm afraid of obviously discrimination and of people having opinions that I don't super care about. So if you don't like trans people or are weirded out by non-binary people and what that means, and that makes you question yourself and upset about yourself, and you start hating me because I'm a snowflake or a liberal or something, or whatever it is that you think of me, I guess kindly click away, I suppose. But if you would like to know a bit more about my perspective, I would love to share it with you. Because okay, I'm going to tell you something, my toxic trait here. I have a toxic trait. I tell my friends this all the time. I think that if people were to meet me, they would no longer hate trans people. They would no longer be transphobic. They would no longer be like, hide the children, they can't be exposed to people who are trans. I personally think that, yeah, my toxic trait is that if they met me, if you only met me, you would see that I am a kind and good person. And I would affirm that you are a kind and good person. And we probably just would be friends, I don't know. I think that there's not a lot of differences in the human race, to be honest with you. I mean, all of these things that divide us are really things that unite us. I know it sounds so woo-woo, but they really are. I mean, all the things that we perceive as different, really are so similar, and that we know what it's like to feel like the oddball out, that we don't belong. I don't know if I know anybody who hasn't questioned who they are as a person and hasn't questioned, whether they are I don't know, we all cry, we all weep, we all are people, and we all have things that make us upset or afraid or frightened or hurt or in pain. And I don't know everybody's pain, but at the same time, you guys don't know my pain. So I'm going to talk about that a bit today. And now we're at the 10-minute mark here. But I guess this is a good start for first talking. I don't know how much longer I will talk or how long this will be, but the things I have written down here I would like to say. And I'm certainly going to say a few of them. And this is mostly about my business, but maybe we'll talk about trans things too later. We'll see. Um, uh, or maybe I can talk about them now. I don't know. Being being so different is really scary. I don't want to inconvenience anyone. I don't want to be a burden to anyone. And frankly, if you were to sit me down and ask you, why do you think you are the way you are? I would say, I don't know, man. I don't know. It was really painful growing up. Like being me, and I didn't know why. And then I found out why, and a way that made me feel better. So why does it matter to you that something that I am doing makes me feel better? You know? Like, it's none of your beeswax. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, I just felt like sharing that. But back to what I was actually going to talk about, which was, so the company that I made was called LOUZR Creative, and my mom thought of it, honestly. So my name is Lou, so it was LOUZR, and it was supposed to be about uplifting people who were having a hard time being creative like me. And the thing is, I can't lift anybody up if I am the one who needs to be lifted up. So I kind of didn't understand that is kind of important to acknowledge one's own needs before trying to help others. I just didn't want anybody else to. I just had this, urge that, when I was younger, when I was looking for queer media or looking to, feel like I belonged as a person. I was looking for something to believe in, something to, I don't know, feel like I wasn't alone. And, I saw all these people who felt the same way, but with their different identities in different ways, and, felt marginalized in different ways. And I think we can all feel, marginalized in different ways, whether, even outside of the typical ways that we see it as, of course, race, gender, sexuality, things like that. I think even, people who don't who are straight and who are white and who are men, I think there's even diversity there in different ways of being, in different, there's class, there's I'm 25. I don't know anything. That's just my opinion. I just think that there are all different ways to feel like you don't belong, like you aren't enough, like the world doesn't care about you, like you're not good enough. I don't think that is just for those people that those kinds of things that I just listed. So anyway, whatever. That's a whole other thing. But so LOUZR, this company that I called a creative production company, right? I really just was like, I don't really want to have to prove myself to anyone. I'm so sick of proving myself to people and being like, I'm good enough to make art, or to make stuff in general, or to have my voice heard. I'm so sick of trying to convince people, whether that's strangers or loved ones or, everything. I'm just so sick of trying to convince people of my humanity. It's just, or just of me just being allowed to be a person and like what I like. I don't care if you don't like what I like. Just let me like it, let me live. I'm a nice person, I promise. If you met me, you wouldn't think I was a degenerate. I mean, maybe by my taste in music. I just listen to musical theater, folks. Musical theater and anime and Disney. And I was listening to the Gilmore Girls soundtrack earlier. I mean, really, it's trash. As well as my taste in books. I just read romance novels most of the time. I'm getting into sci-fi. Anyway, off topic. This is called ADHD, you guys. This is called ADHD. And sometime I can see why all my favorite podcasts are like this, where they just talk and talk and talk about not really the topic. I think maybe I'll have people talk with me too. Maybe my friend who maybe you'll meet later. I don't know. God, it is fun to talk, isn't it? Okay, so about LOUZR again. So I really wanted to share what I learned from starting a production company as a trans artist. Maybe if I post this, I'll just like tell you when I actually start talking about the thing that I was supposed to be talking about. Maybe I'll put like, hey, I only start talking about it just like 15 minutes in. But, introduction is important. It's important to like that you guys, get a sense of who I am wherever I post this. Probably be of just friends. Okay. Okay. The first thing I wrote down was intro, introducing myself, why I'm making this, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Well, I already said that. Okay. Something I want to establish. There's probably a lot of thoughts that I've started and haven't finished. So I just want to be clear that like, I'm not trying to do that. I'm not trying to start something and then this is the main part of this episode of this podcast. This is the main part that I want to talk about. So I just want to like make that clear. So don't worry, this is the topic. So I'm going to start off by talking about Big P purpose, which is something that I learned about while I was getting treatment for my mental health during my big burnout. Remember when I said I had a big burnout? Well, it was really big. So it was even bigger than I initially said. So basically someone told me this, and see, I'm also an oversharer. I really don't know how to not be my full self, even on the internet. So there you go. Big P purpose is this thing this concept that was taught to me, I was told about, that is basically like, if you have this enormous goal in life, as I did, that you believe is your purpose in life. So for the longest time, I've been like, my purpose in life at all is to make content for marginalized people, and to make nobody else in the entire world ever have to feel as lonely as I did when I was a child, or just like in general, and or have to feel like they don't belong, or they aren't seen, or society doesn't like them, or the world won't like them. I wanted to help. I wanted to help that thing. And if I didn't accomplish that vision before I died, I would have regrets in life. Now, isn't that just a terrible thing to do? I feel like that's just so much pressure to put on your own self, but I did that, and I was doing that my whole life. I know I've only been alive 25 years, but like, that's a long time. And as a result, I was like really depressed, and I did not know this. And I also, in the same vein, I very recently found out I have ADHD, and that contributed to the whole depression thing. So very interesting. And then I learned about little p purpose, which is something that you can do every day to fulfill your greater purpose. It is your little p purpose that, as long as you're doing it every single day, it means that you are fulfilling what it is that you set out to do in life. And I've decided that is to help people be seen, to help people feel seen. And, however I find myself employed, or living life, wherever I find myself living life, I want to be able to do that and contribute to that and think about innovative ways to do that. So just a thought of that. So yeah. So let's talk about my first film. Oh God, I don't know if I should say the name on this. You know what? This is gonna get demonetized. Like, I don't know what that means. I don't know what. You know what? Like, people are allowed to curse on podcasts, right? Whatever. It's not. So my first film was the capstone. Was my capstone, what called my capstone project. Essentially, my thesis project for college. Yeah, essentially my thesis film. And it was the first thing that I wanted to create under this banner of LOUZR. And it was about my experience and how I felt being trans. It was a zombie film. And the title is a slur because it's supposed to represent my anger about how alone I felt and how unworthy and unwanted I felt and how much I felt like people were just being mean. So it's called Tranny Faggot. And it's called that because the main character okay, here, we're going to go into it. I wrote this. I play the main character in the film. I produced it. I edited it, and I partially directed it. It was, as you might think, hell, because guess how long it was? 15 minutes. This was and if any of you are in film or know how to make a film, like if any of you have ever made stuff before, you'd know that making a 15-minute short film is so much content, because that's like hours of shooting. Some people take hours of shooting for a 2-minute short film. Most people make, like really short. Like we had we filmed on a like outside on a Boy Scout thing. We on a Boy Scout campground. Like we filmed for hours, and we had to have several days of shooting. And we would stay, we would go in the evening and we would stay until midnight. It was bonkers. It was bananas. And this was incredibly ambitious. So now going into why we called it that was because we thought it would be eye-catching because it's zombies, and it's, and it's a slur for trans people, and gay people, obviously. And so it's called that because the character that I play, the main character who is non-binary in the movie, there's this bullying that is done to them in the movie, and this group of really mean girls played by one of my closest friends, and it's so funny. It was all my friends and family and friends that I had made throughout my years at school. And it was, and in terms of that, it was a wonderful experience. Everybody was so kind and nice. I could not have done anything that I did without everybody that helped. So the character that I play has been bullied and has this camp T-shirt on, right? And they write in Sharpie, tranny faggot, in order to humiliate this trans person. It just was my reimagining of what a bullying at a summer camp would be like for this trans individual. Now, it was very much exaggerated. It was very much how I felt about, the things people would say, the things I'd heard people say online, it was very much like a verbalized form of those things. And it was very metaphorical, because what ended up happening was when all these kids were bullying my character, they all turned into zombies. And then my character has to kill all of them to survive. I had a professor call it a shooter fantasy. It's not. It's supposed to be about just people's hatred turning them into monsters, and how trans people have to fight to survive, and they should not lay down and take it. They should know that their existence is worth it, and it's okay, and that they're allowed to be exactly who they are, and they are supposed to be here, and they're supposed to live, and we're all supposed to live. Everybody in the whole world is supposed to be alive. Everybody's supposed to live, and nobody deserves to have less than other people. And so I was being specific to the trans experience, of course, in talking about it, but, I really firmly believe that, and it also, I feel like, the characters turning into zombies, is more about, the feeling, the virus of hate, the virus of depression, the virus of, it's partly external people, bringing these trans people down, but it's also their inner demons, right? It's don't lay down and die and let the zombies get you. Fight the zombies, not only are they the people, it's more about the concept. So you can actually check it out on YouTube. LOUZR Creative is the YouTube channel, but it's called Tranny Faggot. I'm not sure if you'll be able to look it up per se. Mostly I have people look it up through, so that's LOUZR Creative, LOUZR Creative, and that's a YouTube channel on YouTube. Yeah, you can't really exactly look up the video itself because it is demonetized. Obviously, because the title is in fact a slur, and there is trigger warning. There's a lot of trigger warnings, self-harm, suicidal ideation. There's a lot of gore too. Not a lot of gore though, because like we just use fake blood. Like it's very easy to tell, but it is quite intense. And there's a lot of transphobia in it as well. But I'm very proud of it. But yeah, it was crazy, the amount of work that went into it. So I have a lot here about it, I guess. But I think I'll end it pretty soon because there's a lot of topics that I wanna cover. So I'm just gonna talk through a bit of what I want to cover in this sort of series. I don't know. It might be a series. I don't know. I don't know if I won't ever record again. I don't know. I don't know if I suppose I'll have to edit this. I'm very nervous to edit this or nervous to do anything at all with this, but it has felt nice to talk. So let me just talk through some of the topics I'm going to get to probably. So I want to talk about the writing process and about registering with a writers guild and whatever on earth that was. I had to register with the writers guild of America, so that nobody steals your script. I took a screenwriting class and they told us that, and it freaked me out. So I did that. Of course, the script changed as we filmed it, but the original script that I started shooting with is registered there. So I'll talk a bit more about that. The casting process, I had a lot of trouble with casting because I needed a bunch of zombies and a bunch of people to be at places and to drive in cars, and it was crazy to organize. Okay, we'll talk about that. And locations, how I had to get the location, and then also crew finding. I had to find a lot of crew too, and most of us did not know what we were doing, including me. I did not know what I was doing. Up until that point, I mostly worked in theater, but I was just really fascinated in the reach of film and in film in general. So there's that. Budget was quite weird. I got a grant from my university of $1,000, which is really cool. We could have tried to do it on no budget, but it was quite nice to have a pretty good amount of money to get stuff done. But it still was like there was still so many things. So there's that. Dealing with and managing people / betrayal and egos. Yeah, it sounds really dramatic, but I did like people, like it's my insert to give you a taste sample. It was my baby, every project that I work on, especially in this company that I started, was my baby. And, I wrote it and I did all of these things to try to get it to happen. And when there are naysayers, when you're writing something or you're trying to put something together, it's so annoying. Oh my God. I cannot stand people who sit there and go, well, we can't do that. It's like, maybe you should think of another way. That's what our job is here. I don't know. I'm a pivot person, I'm very much like, if this doesn't work, let's go try something else, And I think I can't understand people who aren't flexible in that way. I can't understand how one can go their whole life getting every single thing they want exactly how they want it. It's like stuff is going to change, and you got to roll with the punches. Also, especially if you work in theater, like all of them worked in theater. Anyway, I can't do it, man. It's a pet peeve. So next one, protecting your vision. This was a big one. This just goes along hand in hand with the betrayals and people and egos. Is that like you gotta protect your vision and you gotta think about what is the essence, because like you're it's very much like it's a collaborative process, right? But like a lot of people are gonna have their own ideas of what they think the project is, and if you don't protect it enough, pretty soon it's not gonna be what you intended anymore. So you have to think about the parts that are really the most important parts about what you made, and hold on to those. And the other stuff, though, be open to other people's ideas and listen to them and really listen to them and see if it's something that would add to what you're actually trying to do. Because, I mean, a lot of stuff in that film were things that people that were on set just like thought of and made up on the spot. And obviously we had a script, we had, like things that we planned, but there were also a lot of unplanned things and a lot of things that people, and a lot of ideas that people had that I was really happy to see come to life. It was magical. So there's that. Equipment, how I sourced all of my equipment. I'm going to talk about that. Scheduling, oh God, a nightmare. A lot of when to meets. Sometime I got to figure out how to do that better and to not just do when to meets. Because there's got to be a way to, like, I don't know, something that looks a little more professional, I suppose I'll learn more about that as I work more in my professional career. But either way, craft services, feed your people something. Oh, I clapped. It's terrible. I'm gonna have to fix that poppiness. Craft services is so much more important than you think it is. Oh my God, it was so important. I'm lucky that my friends were chill with me enough that but the first night, my head was in so many places at once. I forgot to get them pizza like I promised for the evening. Feed your crew, feed your actors. If you're doing like indie stuff, feed them. That's like, you don't want hungry people. You really don't. So next thing, oh God, you ever just like, I'm just doing this on Audacity on my computer here, and sometimes weird things are gonna come up. Anyway, shooting days, schedule changes, running over, respecting people's time. Okay, I am a big proponent of respecting people's time. I hate when people are disrespectful of my time. Like, we go longer than we say where we're gonna go. Like, if you say that shooting is gonna start at a certain time, you try to start as soon as you can, right? If you say that something is gonna end at a certain time, you try to end as soon as you can. And rule of thumb for me is, I think it's most respectful to plan as much as you can in advance, and if there's stuff that you need to pivot, but like in the end you really need to respect people's time. And like if you say a shoot is gonna, like, if you don't plan well enough and you say a shoot is gonna end at 8 and it goes until midnight, that's not okay. That's what I personally think. I think that's abusing people's time and people's care of you, and especially if it's like you're not paying people, right? If it's like a low budget thing. If you're paying people, pay them overtime, because that also will, be an incentive to people who are running over, that like, hey, we can't afford that. Maybe don't run over, Overall, I think in general, like, something I've always hated as an actor and as anything in any creative production is like when people don't respect my time, and when people don't end when they say they will. And when they act nonchalant about it too. It's like, if you are taking until midnight to do something that you said would end at 10, that's not okay. Like, you can end at I only at the barest of circumstances let things run over, like, of certain things, right? It's like, if we need to finish something really quick, like, we ask the crew, hey, like, this might go another hour. Is everybody like okay with that? Because they're not getting paid. if they're getting paid, yeah, I guess they can keep you as long as they want you. You're getting paid, right? But like these are my friends. These were my, you know, like family members. These were people who, you know, did this because they loved and respected me, you know, and also people who I knew in, you know, the theater department and stuff like that. And it's like, the last thing I want to do is ruin, you know, my reputation with those people. And I don't want them to distrust me, that like, that I'm not going to respect their time. So I guess I went on a tangent there. I guess I did kind of talk about it, but, so another thing, taking care of yourself through it all. Process your own emotions, then deal with people. Oh my goodness. I had so many times where I like have wanted to scream and like be upset, but it's like, if people are working for you, regardless of if you're paying them or not, nobody's going to want to work with a mean person, right? Nobody's going to, especially like especially like, again, you know, like this whole business and the business of being with people, just like business in general, right? Nobody wants to work with someone they hate. Like, people leave companies, entire jobs, because people are mean to them and don't respect them or don't listen to them, you know? Like, if you as the big boss are unkind to people, no one's going to want to work with you, you know? No one's going to want to participate in something, you know, for free again, you know? Like, you want people to be as jazzed and excited about doing what you're doing as possible, because you're jazzed and excited and you want to make this happen. So, you know, if you're feeling overwhelmed, you need to take responsibility for that, which is what I tried really hard to do. Which is, you know, when I would get really frustrated with people and people would be on my last nerve, and they will get on your last nerve. They will get on your last nerve. You have to go deal with that, where like take the time and go deal with that, and then come back. Because you just don't want to be an asshole. That makes people like you more if you're not an asshole. Another thing is, you think about, how are you paying people? Are you paying in experience? And if so, you need to make it as easy as possible for them to work for you. That is how you pay them. If you're paying them experience, make it a good experience. Make it a fun experience. You do not have the change, you know, in your pocket to make it a shitty experience. See, I've said all these curse words now, so I'm just coming out. But like, if you are gonna just pay them experience, quote unquote, or fun, make it fun. Don't be mean, you know, because then they're not getting paid. Does that make sense? Okay. And the next thing is money. Are you paying in money? Because then I guess it could be a little less fun, but you know, you still want it to be like, you know, like, then you can be a little more professional, or however you define mean as. Sometimes something I don't get is people sometimes are straight up mean, and then they say, oh, I'm being professional. No, you're not. It's unprofessional to put your emotions on other people. It really is. Like, is it unprofessional to goof off the entire time? Yes, sure. But it is just as unprofessional to be an asshole. That is my opinion. And I am right. And I also wrote fun. So experience and fun, same thing. Make it as easy as possible for them to work with for you. Pay them. Morally, you might want to pay people ASAP. I could not, and do the thing that I wanted to do, which is another thing that was really difficult and depressing about starting a company, was that I couldn't pay anybody. And I'm like, no, I should not be doing that. So I've reevaluated, and I'll talk more about that, I'm sure, another time. I'm just going to list a few more things. Festivals, about how I entered it into a bunch of festivals. I'm going to talk about that. And about what not to do, because, oh my God, I made so many mistakes. If a festival has, like, poor grammar, do not apply for it. It is not worth it. Sometimes there'll be stuff on like the festival. What did I write? There's a festival website that I can't remember the name of that I wish I'd written down, but I'll talk about it another time. You got to be really careful because some people they're always trying to get you to apply for their film festivals, and don't apply for more than you want to, and make sure apply for the right ones that you will actually get into, because it does cost money to apply to these. And they will shake you for every time that you have. So make sure you get as many discounts as you can. Something that I did, which was really helpful, was actually post your festival wins online. Because then a bunch of festivals will be coming to you, and they'll give you discounts, and they'll give you all this stuff. So apply for, I'll talk more about it. Whatever. I'll talk more about it. But, be very aware. Beware. Another thing is, I'll probably talk about at some point, is social media marketing. Oh my God, I hate social media marketing. I have learned that I do not want to be a social media marketer in any way, shape, or form. I hate it. It's awful because, and that's just me, but I have found out that I just don't like social media in general. It makes me really upset, and it sucks me in, and I don't like it. And I sound like a crotchety old person when I say this, and I'm just 25, and I know I'm a young person, but oh my God, I cannot stand it. I love living my life and being a human being way more, out in the open than I like sharing every single little bit online so that people will give me enough likes so I feel good about myself. Like, I used to do that so often, try to find the perfect picture. It's not worth it, you guys. It's not worth it, Like, I grew up, I got a girlfriend, life became something I only wanted to share in my family group chat, to be honest with you. Like, life is something you share with your best friends, with your chosen family, like, it's really like half of those 100 likes that you got or 1,000 likes, they don't care about you. They don't care. They don't know who you are. They don't care. I mean, I don't know. I'm just saying, if like, this is a personal Instagram. I'm sure there, or whatever you're doing. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of other very valid reasons to do social media, but I hate it. So I'm just going to, and this is my podcast, so I can talk about what I hate all I want. And if you are listening, you have to listen. Okay. And I'm also going to talk about website design. That was also really hard, for me. But I did it, and it was really easy, actually. Well, it was easy and really hard, right? Because the software is really easy, but oh my God, there were so many little beep you have to like figure out. Website design is not my thing that I like to do either. But again, in doing this company all by myself, I decided to do everything by myself. Not fun, not a good experience. To do everything by yourself. Next time, note to self and note to you. If this is ever something you want to do, please don't do this alone. Please don't do business things alone, because starting a business by yourself is really taxing and really hard, because, half of starting a business, most 90% of what I found is that it's not actually doing the thing that you set up your business to do. It is setting up the business. It is running the business. Running the business itself is a job. It's so, you have to set up so many things, you have to talk to so many people, you have to do so much maintenance, you have to it's just a lot of things. And I think I wrote all of them down, and I'll talk about them at some point, but oh my goodness, please don't do it alone. It was awful to do it alone. I just felt all the time like I wasn't doing enough. And sorry, Alex, what's the H name? I cannot remember your name, but the business guy that gets all the businesses. I read his book. Oh my God, 100 leads, $100 million leads or something. I'll have to, yeah, sorry. Oh my God, I could not do what you do. That's really impressive what you do. I sit there hating myself too much. I'm always like, it's never enough. What I did is never enough, because I'm not making any money. So what I'm doing is never enough. But I know I didn't follow all your steps, but whatever. Anyway, end message to Alex H. I think oh my God. Anyway. Another thing, merch. PayPal is a nightmare. Oh my God. I tried to make PayPal into the business PayPal. I'm sure that there's a way to do it much easier. I did not go about it an easy way. And note, I also did this I did all of this before I knew I had ADHD. So you can imagine that it was quite a difficult process and that I did not know why it was so difficult. So I thought that I was just bad at everything and a terrible person. But it turns out, no, I am neurodivergent and I have a perfectly reasonable explanation as to why it was quite difficult for me to accomplish all of these tasks all at once to start a business. Also, we're human, and that's okay to, even if you aren't neurodivergent, to not go in and do all the things at once, because it's hard and because it's not easy. Anyway, next thing I'll probably talk about, so merch, designing merch, getting a virtual address for like registering your business and all this stuff, because trust me, you kind of don't want to register your business as just your home, because when you do that, people will send things to your home and business things to your home, and that can be a little bit uncomfortable. Also, the government and business things, that's another place where someone can access your information about where you live. Anyway, it freaked me out, but it's probably not that bad, but like it freaked me out. So there's that. I had a virtual address, and I use this website that I'll probably talk about at some point. See, it's a lot of like, so I'm just going through what I'm probably going to talk about later. But another thing is registering a business, of course, and all the paperwork and working in your home. Oh, this list. This is a disorganized list. What I mean is working in your home, getting a virtual address. If you move a lot, that's what I meant. That's why you should get it. It's not just about like creepy government things. It's if you work from home but you're a renter and you move a lot, it's gonna be annoying to go in and re-register stuff. It's just gonna be much easier to get a virtual address, to pay like a tiny bit of money, like, I don't know, $50 a year or something, to get a virtual address so you can move around if you need to move around. That's just my personal thing, what I did. Anyway. Oh my God, getting a business credit card, taxes, EIN. Oh my God, the costs of a business card. So many things. Oh my God. And then I'll talk about, at some point, my second project, Jude and Julia, the web series, which still isn't finished, because by the time I finished filming that, it's all shot, but it is not edited. By the time I got down to editing, I looked at the project and I said to my friend who was my producer, because I decided to not do that by myself this time. Still overwhelming, still really hard, still decided to cast myself as a lead role. Why did I do that? Whatever. I said, I don't want to touch this. I can't do it. I wrote it, and I was in it, and I can't bear to watch myself do acting that I think is bad, because I did not know my lines very well, because, again, I was doing everything. So, so that is 45 minutes total of content, because I wanted to push myself. Who am I? Why did I think I could do 45? I mean, I did do it. That'll be coming out at some point. My Instagram, LOUZR Creative, is like, I haven't touched it. I haven't touched that either. My Substack, I haven't touched. I have a Substack too. See, I really just came out swinging and made all these things, and it burnt out. So yeah. But Jude and Julia, I'm definitely going to post on YouTube, LOUZR Creative, the same YouTube channel. And it will be it's about 10 episodes. It's 10 episodes. And I'm pretty proud of it. It's about vampires. So you see the pattern here. I did a Kickstarter. That failed. I did not know how to market a Kickstarter. Again, I hate social media marketing. It was far too many things to manage. It was so many things. And I did not know what I was doing. But I learned a lot of what not to do. So Kickstarter, I'll talk about that. Animation, hiring artists. Sometimes, fuck AI art, personally. See, I've just turned back on the cursing here. Don't use AI art, in, like, maybe to inspire you to make real art, but, like, don't do that. That's bad for the environment and also bad. But okay, here's a hot take on AI from an artist. This is crazy. This is, you can blow your minds. I found this great app / website called Goblin Tools. This is not an ad for it, by the way, but like, it's great for my ADHD brain, also potentially autistic brain. So you see it's really spicy up in here in my brain. Cooking up a lot of things with these spices. Basically, it's this great AI tool that I really have found that I enjoy using, that like helps me formalize my emails, helps me, break down tasks that I have to do. I can type a task into a taskbar, into this little thing, and it will break down the task for me and tell me how long each task take. Again, it's Goblin Tools. It's free on the website, but I encourage you to support them on the app, because the app is like $3 or something, and you can purchase it and support the creators, the developers. It has changed my mind about AI in general. It is quite nice, as somebody who has a neurodivergent brain, to be able to like not have to go through all of that mental energy myself. It is quite nice. And it also has like a chef function where you can go and put all your ingredients that you might need to cook something, and it'll tell you how to cook something. It'll even judge texts for you or emails. So if you're like having trouble discerning the tone or what somebody means by something, you can just plug it in and it'll tell you what the words might indicate. And it's really helpful. Anyway, so fuck AI art, but not all AI, because they turned me a little bit. That was it's quite nice. I will say. It's quite a load off, quite a burden off. Anyway, again, so we'll talk about animation and hiring artists, because I hired my friends as poster artists as part of the limited budget that I had for Jude and Julia. Yeah. So the Kickstarter failed, but I was very fortunate that my dad really believed in me, and wanted to fund the project. So it was he gave me some money to start too, and that was really kind of him. And again, I could not be anywhere, and I'm very privileged to be able to say that as a creator. But even still, I had a hard time. So you could see. Now, the things I'm going to talk about, like I've been talking about this whole time, doing it by yourself, and burnout, and ADHD, and community. Who are you serving? Who specifically are you serving? Can they pay you? Do they want to? Because starting a company in general is like really tough, and you need an audience. You need people who are going to purchase your product if it's going to be a money-making thing. So yeah, I kind of didn't know how all of that worked, and I think next time, if I were to, well, I'm probably going to do it again, to be honest with you. I'm getting back on my feet slowly but surely, but probably doing it again, I would probably start small and not make it my full-time job, because I couldn't make any money to live. So yeah, so I'm thinking of doing things on the side first, and then with full-time employment, and then eventually maybe, if it gets a good enough audience on its own, making it into something that could be purchased, or money things. I think starting too early with money things when it comes to art is can be really disheartening and really hard because it's less fun when you have to make your livelihood off of it, right? Like it's not like, okay, I could talk about capitalism, right? Capitalism, like, you know, living, you have to pay to live, you have to pay to eat, you have to pay to live in a home, you have to pay to, do all of your basic things that you as a human need to do, like to fulfill all of your needs. Like, that sucks. I don't like that. That's part of my personal political opinion, is that, like, I don't know, like, we're so advanced now. We're in the age of AI. We should be able to support everybody and end homelessness and end world hunger. Come on. Come on, you guys. Like, there's so much money, there's so much wealth. How is it that there are countries that, like, people can't have fresh water? Like, what's with that? How is it that there are places in the US that, like, don't have clean water? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, what is with that? Like, why are we're such a smart civilization. We're such a smart, species. I don't know. I have hope that we're going to be able to do it someday, but it's like, there's no reason we can't. Don't you love that I go back and forth between the topic and between some personal tangent that I enjoy? Great. I did not, I think an hour is a good stopping place for a podcast. So I'll probably do this again, maybe. And I'm not sure how I'm going to edit this. I'll probably just go through and see where it pops, and I'll probably just let it roll and see what where I should post this or do this. Shout out to Marie, who was the friend I was talking about earlier, who told me to do this. I'll probably bring her on here. She's very funny, very cool. Love her a lot. And I'll probably and I have a lot of really fun and interesting friends, so I'll probably bring them on here at some point too. I hope you guys enjoyed, or whoever listened to this. See, it's really weird to, like, say you guys when, like, I don't even know if anybody will listen to this or if I'll even post it. But, I hope this was enjoyable. This was certainly enjoyable for me. I liked sitting and talking about my feelings, so I probably will do this more. And it's nice that there's no pressure. It's nice to feel creative again. I'll be honest with you guys. I've been feeling really burnt out and terrible about making anything or doing anything or saying anything for more than a year now, honestly. Not more than a year. I mean, probably a little less than a year. Like, details. But, like, I haven't made something in a while, so I really wanted to make something. So thank you for giving me the opportunity to make something. Not that you gave me an opportunity, but thank you for maybe listening, if you listened. And I will come up with a title. And the title will be on the title of this. And you'll be like, whoa, that's the title. The title is brr, and I'll be like, yeah, the title is brr, like, oh, welcome to the podcast, brr, and then you will know, and then the next time I record it, you will know. All right. Yeah. God, how do you outro? This is the outro to the podcast. This is the outro to the podcast. It's a podcast where Lou says things, and maybe I'll say more things, and maybe this will have a real title. Okay. Bye everyone. Do 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 do.